This is Mike Leon with CKY, and you're listening to Thunder Underground.
Welcome to episode 443 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent here as always. Got a great one to kick off the new year here. Mike Leon of CKY is joining the podcast here to talk about brand new music from CKY, how he came to join the band in 2025, and everything they've got going on in this new year. So we've got all that here to talk about with Mike coming up shortly. And speaking of New Year's, this is my first episode of the new year. So I hope that everyone had a great new year. How many times can I say new year in the span of 30 seconds? Anyway, I hope you had a great holiday season, and this year is kicking off nicely for you. 2026 marks the 12th calendar year that this podcast has existed. Started this thing in 2015, and here coming up in just a few months will be the 11th anniversary of this podcast kicking off, which is pretty crazy, to me at least. It might not be to you, but to me it feels crazy as time continues to move forward. So as this time moves forward, we need to look forward to great things in 2026, and some of those great things should be more new music from CKY, and that's what this episode is about. So before we get into that, I need to let you know who sponsors this podcast. That would be Sunset Tattoo, a tattoo shop located in Midtown Tulsa. Tattoos are done good and proper. They're state licensed. Over 30 plus years of experience from Jake and his crew over there. Native American owned. Female artist on staff full time. Call or message ahead of time to set up an appointment, but they also accept walk-ins. Get in there to talk about what work. Get in there to talk to them about what work you're looking to have done. I've had work done by Jake multiple times, and I'm very happy with it. I know I'm going to have more in the future. I know you would be happy too, so check out their socials. Tons of photos on there. Facebook and Instagram are both Sunset Tattoo Tulsa. You can see that they specialize in all different styles. I know many people that have got work done there besides myself, and they all seem to be very happy. So hit up Sunset Tattoo and let them know you heard about them right here on Thunder Underground. Also, DEB Concerts, the longest running sponsor of this podcast. They have continually brought in great concerts, great artists to the Tulsa area, at the downtown, at the club level, at the arena level, and they also book the Roadhouse DEB concert stage at Rocklahoma every year. They've done that for several years running now, pre-pandemic, going on to all these years moving forward. I'm sure they'll be doing it again. We should get all that information from Rocklahoma very soon. They also sponsor Cancer Sucks every year, as they did just a little under about a month and a half ago here in the Tulsa area at the Canes Ballroom. DEBconcerts.com is the website. Of course, we'll keep you up to date here for new announcements as they come. And again, a huge thank you to DEB Concerts for several plus years of sponsorship. All right, CKY has a brand new song out, and Mike Leon is here to talk about it. Mike Leon joined the band back in the summer of 2025. I believe his first show with the band was in July. I've seen Mike live before with Soulfly and with Cavalera. This guy's an awesome bass player. You see the move to CKY stylistically is a big difference between what he was doing with the Max Cavalera projects. But you can see instantly in photos and videos of the live shows since he's joined, and of course how he's talking about his experience thus far in this interview, that he's having a blast, as would anyone who joins a band that means as much to them as CKY does to Mike. He talks about it in this coming up, and of course it's been in the news since the fact that he joined the band, but CKY is the band that made Mike want to play music, got him into music, like heavily, I believe is the way he put it, and is kind of like his first favorite band. Go on and join a band like that. It's been done in the past, but it's extremely uncommon. The people that can say that they've done that is probably extremely rare. With all that being said, I'm hoping to get the chance to see CKY here in this coming year now that Mike's in the band. As he mentions in this interview, they played the Warped Tour in Long Beach this past year. And this past year in Orlando, I worked the Warped Tour, and I should be working the one in Long Beach this coming year. Not saying that they're going to be at that, but hopefully between the 5 Warped Tours that have been announced, CKY will be playing on at least one of those. So hopefully I'll get the chance to check them out when I'm out there working those events. All right, a quick note before we jump into this interview. The last episode I put out in December, episode 442, was with John Bush. John Bush is the vocalist of Armored Saint, and of course he was the vocalist for Anthrax in the 90s into the early 2000s. And he recently played 3 shows, Chicago, New York City, and LA, where he performed a full set of Anthrax songs from his time in the band. And almost all of those songs, outside of 1 or 2, whenever he would play with Metal Allegiance or the like, haven't been played since he was in the band. And as someone who's a diehard fan of that era of Anthrax, I really wish I could have made it to one of these shows. Unfortunately, I did not. But the opportunity to talk to John Bush for 45 minutes or so about his era of Anthrax was quite an honor for me. After the fact, Jason and I got together and watched a live video of the full set from Chicago. I can't remember if it's Chicago or New York. I think it was Chicago. It sounded absolutely fantastic. If you weren't familiar with it, he did it with Category 7 as his backing band. Category 7's the quote-unquote super group that he's in that put out one album in 2024 that's absolutely fantastic. So just wanted to throw that out there, that if you're a fan of Anthrax or Armored Saint or thrash metal or just fantastic heavy metal vocalist in general, please check out that episode. It's one of my favorite of recent memory. All right, let's get into this. Here is Mike Leon of CKY.
Yeah, first full-fledged tour. It was like 3 weeks across the UK and Dublin and Scotland. It was cool.
Good way to kind of jump into the swing of things with CKY for you.
Yeah, we did. My first show was a few months ago at the Warped Tour here in Long Beach.
Okay.
And then we did another festival in West Virginia to do like a headlining set. So I knew what I was getting myself into for the tour, but tour is obviously different when you're doing it every single day and you're playing a headlining set every single night for weeks and on end. So yeah, it was incredible. It was like such a good time. The shows were great. The vibes between everybody was really awesome. We had a blast. I've laughed so damn hard. So that's all you can hope for, really.
Yeah. Was there lots of, like, a decent amount of rehearsal leading up to that? I mean, how did you handle that? Don't you guys kind of all live in different places, right?
Yeah, we all live in like the opposite sides of the country. I live in LA. Jess is up there in Pennsylvania, and Chad's in Nashville. So we all flew out to Chad's, and we did about 4 or 5 days of rehearsals, kind of touched up on some things, made a nice headlining set list. And we all flew out of Nashville. We met in London, and then we started the tour on Halloween in Oxford, and we all dressed up in costumes, which was awesome.
Was it like a themed costume between the 3 of you, or just 3 random things?
It was actually kind of themed. So we just released a music video for a song called Can't Stop Running.
Yeah. And
in that video, Chad and Jess are a couple different characters, but for the Halloween show, Jess was the hunchback and Chad was the jester. And since it was just them two in the video, they were like kind of going off the medieval theme. Since I'm like the metal guy in the band, I guess, I was the executioner. So I got like an executioner's costume, and my axe was my bass. And it was really cool. Yeah, it was really awesome.
With this song coming out, was this written, I assume since the video was kind of filmed without you, was the song written before you joined the band, or?
Yeah, it was written before I got here, and the video was filmed right as I was joining the band. So I didn't really have time to join them out there in London where they filmed it. But we definitely have a ton of new music on the horizon. We should be coming out with some new stuff before too long. I'm not going to say exactly when, but there is more music in the chamber, and probably going to shoot another video for whatever single we release next.
Is it kind of the same thing? Are these songs that have been around a bit, or have you been involved in the writing process yet with the guys? Or
I can't really speak on what's to come.
okay,
I know "Can't Stop Running" was in the chamber, and they had planned to release that kind of as like a comeback because they haven't released any new music in quite some time.
right.
But moving forward, we might write something new. We're all going to get together here pretty soon, before the end of the year, I believe. So what might come from that session, or we might work on something that's pretty much already done, and I might put my little swing on it bass wise. So yeah, it's really cool. It's like a really fun process working with them because they've got such incredible chemistry from so many years of working together, and I've got my fair share of experience in this industry as well, and then coming together and all of us working together on stuff is it's been really, really cool.
I mean, I don't know if this is something else you can't speak on, but is the idea to release these songs as singles like this, or is it leading towards an album?
Yeah, I think for now, we're this is a new era of CKY, and I think it's a really healthy era. It's a lot different than that past history, which is for really a great thing. And moving forward, yeah, we're gonna do some singles and kind of just release the music that we love, which is kind of what always has happened. And eventually, if we have enough singles out, maybe we'll put them together as like a compilation or maybe like a full length of something like that. But yeah, I think we're all kind of in the same mindset of releasing singles for now, and each one of them kind of standing alone for a bit, because I feel like it's not just my feelings on this. The attention span in 2025 and beyond is just so small. Like,
Yeah.
just keep feeding it, every once in a while a new single. And I feel like a lot of bands are doing that these days with great success because it helps keep, you relevant with what's happening. And I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. You're always on someone's mind that way, I would assume, instead of dropping an album and or not getting anything else new besides an album out there, for another 2 years. It's like everything's out at once. This way you at least get it spread out and keep people's mind on
Yeah.
CKY or whatever project it is.
Keep it fresh, releasing singles, doing some shows here and there, maybe some festivals. And that way, like we were saying, it's just always something fresh because the album cycle is just such like an outdated method, I believe, because you work for years to make a good album, and then the label or whoever's in charge, they choose singles, and it's like you may have 10, 14 songs, but maybe only 4 or 5 of them become singles, and it's like, well, then why did you write the rest of those songs? They don't get like
Right.
their just deserves. So I think the single route is the way that we're going to do it moving forward.
Well, I mean, obviously people have heard Can't Stop Running. And like you said, there's more music to come. And you're kind of in a unique position where, you came into this band as a fan. So like hearing this new music, like how would you describe it to other fans of like CKY? Like what's to come? Like is it what they might expect, or is it just kind of out of the box, or is that something you can speak on?
One thing I will say to everybody that is curious, it sounds like CKY. And that's really all that matters. It's fresh. Like Can't Stop Running, it could have been released 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and it would have been like, whoa, cool. But I do believe that it is moving in a direction that's very fresh, very like unchained. We're writing music for ourselves, not necessarily to fit in some sort of a box or anything like that. That may have been some past situation. But what I've heard, all of it sounds so much like CKY, and it's all killer, dude. Jess and Chad have like such a killer chemistry, and they know exactly what needs to be done to these songs. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited for some of this new stuff to see light.
So how did the process of you joining CKY go about? Did they reach out to you, or did you hear they needed a bass player and you reached out to them, or?
Well, I stopped working with a band that I had been with for the last 10 years, and I just had made the announcement back in April, and I had intentions on just kind of relaxing for a while, and my wife and I just moved out here to LA. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of chill for a minute. I've been touring really hard for 10 years and beyond, but I was like 3 days later after the news broke. Chad slid into my DMs on Instagram and he's like, "Hey, dude, heard the news. What are you up to?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you got going?" And I was like, "Well, we got these shows coming up, and we're releasing new music, and we kind of need like somebody to step in, like a proper bass player." And I was like, "There goes sitting around." I was like, "What are we doing? Like, put me in, coach."
So is the thought process like you're full-time member of CKY moving forward? Because I know over the past several years, they had a few guys kind of in that spot.
Yeah, it's my every intention to be here as much as they need me. I grew up listening to this band, loving this band. I've been talking a lot lately about how these guys really were like the inspiration for me to join this industry and to start my path and what become a career. I was looking up to them a ton, and they were the first band that I really sunk my teeth in. That was like my band. You have bands that you grow up listening to whatever's on the radio or what your family's listening to in your household. CKY was like my band, and to be working with them now and for them to have given me so much trust with their music and their legacy, it's really incredible, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make it the best possible situation for all of us.
Yeah, I imagine only being a few months into this, it's still got to probably feel surreal to be in that position. Like you said, it's not like a band I liked. It's like my band.
Yeah. Yeah, like exactly. Every night on tour, we'd be getting towards the end of the set, and I'd realize it, and I'd be like, we'd play 96 Koi Bitter Beings, and that's towards the end of the set, and I'd think to myself, like, damn, it's almost over. Like, I'm ready to play like 10 more songs. What do we got? Let's go on. Let's keep going,
How long did you wait before you started suggesting, hey, maybe we should play this, like some of your favorite songs?
I didn't wait at all.
Oh, you didn't?
Immediately,
Okay.
first rehearsal, I was like, how about this one? What about this one? They're like, oh, really? And I was like, you're talking to like the number one fan of the band, and if I want to hear it, other people are going to want to hear it too. Yeah.
Well,
It's
like
really
you
cool.
mentioned that chemistry between both of them, like what was that like stepping in, two guys that have been playing together for nearly 30 years? Like, was it an instant kind of chemistry for you, or did it take a bit to kind of build that, even though you'd known him previously, but like the working relationship?
It was like riding a bike, dude. Like I've never played with them before, but like I said, I've been listening to these songs forever. I was pretty familiar with what needed to be done on bass. My screen name back in the day, when like screen names were a thing, 20, 30 years ago, my screen name actually used to be CKY Baseline 96. And stepping into the first rehearsal with the guys, and they knew that too, from being on like the CKY Alliance forums and stuff. Like sitting down with them and like finally playing the songs, there was a bit of like a surreal, like, wow, this is really happening. That's so crazy. But thankfully, due to my experience and with other bands and have been doing this for so long, it was like I was ready, and confident enough to sit back and actually play the songs and enjoy it. And it was a little bit nerve wracking because I know like they've been hearing these songs for forever. So I was like, fuck, I hope I nail it. And I guess I nailed it. So here we are.
Yeah. Speaking of everything you've done previous to this, Soulfly, Havoc, these bands are much heavier than CKY, even though CKY is a heavy band. Like, is there any kind of stylistic changes you have to make to your playing to, play CKY? Or I don't know, I'm not a bass player or guitarist, so it's just something I kind of thought of.
That's a good question. Yeah, metal, most of my previous bands have been a lot faster, more technical. Not maybe so much more technical, just the speed of everything and the intricacy of the riffs. CKY bass lines are really still like really complicated at times, and they're nice and busy, which I love, as a player. But one thing that was a big difference for me was like kind of sitting back in the groove a little bit more and not being like so like like it was more like na-na-na-na-na. So that was cool, like being able to sit back and I kind of really enjoy this style of bass playing because it's really groovy and sometimes less is more. And playing with Jess has just been a joy because he's such a solid drummer. And now, I'm playing with in-ears and I'm hearing him really loud in my mix and we lock in so hard. It's like incredible. I've had an incredible experience playing these songs with those guys.
Was that as well? Like, kind of you said, riding a bike was the linking up with Jess in the rhythm section. Was that like a quick
Immediately. The
immediately
first
for you? Okay.
practice. Yeah. We recently started playing a song. I think it was Familiar Realm. And he wasn't really like digging that song too much back in the day. And he's like, well, playing it with you is sick because we're like so locked in. And I was like, I blushed probably a little bit. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's so sick. Like Inhuman Creation Station is another song that's like that where it really, you got to lock in. And he was like, they weren't really wanting to play that because it wasn't hitting the same if the bass wasn't locked in with the drums. But now we're so locked in, he's like ready to play those songs again, which is really killer to like breathe new life into a song he's been playing for 20 years. That means a lot to me, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I mean, kind of speaking on the same thing as far as like the changing of the musical style, like in the live setting, do you feel more free or anything than you
Yeah.
would say with Soulfly? Because Soulfly, I assume it's like a regimented kind of thing. These are these songs, you're playing it this way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah, pretty accurate
Okay.
actually. With Soulfly and in most bands that I've been in the past, you have like your set list, and it's like we'll go. It's more of like a suggestion, but like this is how the set flows. And with CKY, it's a little bit less like that. Like we have our blocks that we do, but then there's times in the set like, what do you want to hear? And if Chad will give them the option like, here, you want to hear this song or do you want to hear this song? And I think that's kind of cool because it makes every single show a bit more amorphous, and that's great because every night every audience gets like kind of a different show, and that's really cool for us as players because then we get to mix it up a bit. It keeps you on your toes a bit more. So I think that part is cool. And yeah, I really enjoy having like kind of a more open book when it comes to how the set flows.
Like how many, I mean, being, in the band, for a short period of time now, like how many songs do you have like in that repertoire that you guys could pull from with you in the band?
A lot of songs.
Like you already got this shit down?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like everything off of the Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild album, you could pull that out at any time. Most of Volume One. You know, I'm really trying to get some more of Answer Can Be Found album in there, but that's kind of it's a busy album. So, but it's a pretty eclectic thing. I mean, they have so much music over so much time. One thing that was really cool on this tour is we were kind of doing some of the not main songs, more of the stuff from like the CKY movies, which was cool. Like Brand's freestyle. Every night we were having a fan come up. I would pick out which fan I saw going the most crazy when we'd announce it, and they'd come up and do the freestyle, and me and Chad would like kind of be their like hype men, which was really fun, like incredibly fun. And
Yeah.
we played a few songs, like different songs, like Shippensburg, like little bits of Shippensburg and little bits of other songs that people would call out. So it was a really really fun time.
You might have just answered that as well, but like, what's your favorite CKY album as
For
a
me,
fan?
it's just always going to be Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild because I mean I found the band on Volume One and I was like, wow, this is cool. It didn't sound like anything else I had ever heard. But when IDR came out, I was like already a fan, and like I said before, I felt like CKY was my band, and like IDR came out, and it was like, this is mine. Like I love this band. It hit at the right time of the year, in the fall, and now it's like anytime it's this time of the year, it's IDR on repeat, but just because it kind of feels like that time of the year. I don't know, that music just hits different this time of year. So yeah,
Yeah.
IDR is definitely my favorite.
Very cool. Might be something to push for, like a play the album in its entirety type thing.
I mean, we already kind of do that.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
because
that album's just got so many bangers on it. It's like
yeah,
you could put it on and I think we play damn near every song, almost every song, at least 80% of that album every night.
shifting slightly. the experience of playing with someone like Igor Cavallero. Obviously, you're an extremely accomplished bass player, but like, what do you learn from playing with someone like that?
Every band I've played with and every drummer or musician I've played with has taught me like a different tool. And playing with Igor was really killer because he hits so hard. Like I wasn't using any in-ear monitors when I was playing with the Cavalera project or with Soulfly, but with Igor, I would have no drums almost in my wedge in my monitor mix because he would hit so hard. I could hear it above everything else all the time. Like, and we locked in pretty well too, considering we were both like not on in-ears. And that music was really intricate, like playing albums like the Beneath the Remains album from Sepultura or Arise. That's very intricate, very fast stuff. And I actually had to develop a different technique playing using my thumb as like a fourth note, like for tremolo picking. Instead of just doing three, I would do my thumb also so that I could string skip with my other fingers and still keep like the drone note or the root note, but moving really quickly. It's something that I had to basically adapt or die when it came to playing those Sepultura stuff because he plays really fast. It's really fast, very demanding music. So I
Yeah.
learned a lot playing with them.
Blue Ridge Rock Fest, I think Cavallera played like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I walked up on the side of the stage like I was doing artist relations, watching him from the side view, like one of the, I don't know if it's a drum tech or someone was like holding, like, I don't remember if it was cymbals or the, snare or something. He was down there holding
Oh
it
yeah.
the way he was hitting.
You're gonna
And I don't know if
dude,
something
he
was
just
broken
gets
or why he was, if that's common or what, but he was holding like the drum.
he just bangs those things, dude. He's such a monster player.
Yeah. Something I noticed, just when I was looking through your stuff that, you said you're director of artist relations for Enki.
Yeah.
Like, what's that in that world? What's that mean? Is that like entirely like endorsements? You're like in charge of that, or what's your?
Just when new artists come and they reach out for an endorsement, it's my job to like vet them and kind of, see which level of endorsement we can get to them. And then convey like, what the relationship entails, like the exchange for, the artist pricing or comped cases for content, basically, like to make ads for the company because it's like a behind the scenes product. It's not a guitar or something that's like easily accessible through photos. So like, it's my job to kind of stay on them, and it's a bit of marketing as well. So, and just taking care of artists that we have on our roster already, which is a huge roster. When people need new stuff, I can take care of them. And at NAMM, I do the artist event, which we sit a few of our, ambassador level artists or like high level artists at a panel of 5 or 6 folks and do like a signing event, which has really been really killer. And I love it. It's such a great job. I've been doing that all day, actually.
Oh yeah,
My first day back at the office, yeah. But it's a cool gig. It's something I always wanted to do because I feel like I've had endorsements most of my career, and it always makes such a big difference when you have a person who uses the product and has been on the road and understands touring in the position of artist relations, because it's a very demanding job, both jobs, touring and running a company. So it helps to have somebody with that skill set and that bit of knowledge to run it, so that you're working with your peers and not just some guy that's sitting in an office somewhere that has no idea how difficult it is to ship a case from Germany to Romania in
right.
3 days.
Yeah, I saw your videos where you had the zip ties in there for TSA.
That's awesome. You saw that video, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an endorsee of the company since its inception back in 2017, and I was really needing like a better solution for traveling because I was traveling a lot with Soulfly, and just like it's very demanding on the instruments and just in general. So when the Enki came on to the mix, I got one, and it changed touring for me forever. So then I eventually, when I love a company, I sink my teeth in very deeply, and I reached out to Dave Kronk, who's the owner of Enki, and we established like a really cool relationship, giving him feedback of like, hey, what's really cool when this is really great, but when we're flying, this kind of thing happens or this and that, giving him feedback. And he was really awesome at like listening to it and making adjustments. And then eventually it came to a head where I came up with the idea to have Enki have a signing event at NAMM, because I was like, everybody uses this product. It's like it's become the industry standard. You go to a festival and you're just going to see like a row of them because everybody uses them. And I was like, we should tap into that and have like a cool signing session, have some of our favorite guys sit at the table and spread the word. And we did that in I think it was 2023 or 2024. Yeah, it was 2024. And it went incredibly well. And it was right after that where Dave was like, all right, dude, you win. Like, you want to be, in artist relations? And I was like, sure thing, dude. Because the company was growing, and I was like, yeah, you guys have got a product that the whole world wants. So I really wanted to get on board and make sure that everybody was taken care of. So it's been a really cool gig so far.
What is it about Enki that makes it stand above everybody else? Is it like Pelican, where it's just kind of like established itself in that realm?
I think so. Yeah. Now, I mean, it was originally designed for composite archery,
Wow.
bows and cases and stuff like that. But he had the great idea to put a guitar in it one day. And it's great because you can put two guitars or basses in one case. I have like my straps, my in-ear system, a couple sets of strings, and a little random stuff. It's always under 50 pounds for when you fly. It's got really great wheels that can go all terrain. They're skateboard wheels. And it's really handy. It's super handy. So yeah, it's become the standard. Everybody uses them.
Bringing it back to CKY for a minute, like you kind of mentioned new music coming in 2026. Like, what else can we expect? Will there be more touring from CKY?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were just working on some potential tour dates coming up here pretty soon. Right now on the books, we have Australia in January. So that'll be pretty cool. I think the band hasn't been down there in something like 14 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be a really killer time. It'll be my first time going down there with them. And we have Sonic Temple also in Columbus, Ohio. That's coming up in May. And so we're trying to work, a little tour around that and little things here and there. We're going to try to hit Europe next year. And there's some pretty cool offers for some cool festivals. So that's all I can say about that. But
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy year. We're going to have new music, new shows, new attitude, new vibes. It's really awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, glad to see the band kind of getting back into the swing of, being super active.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I want to see CKY. So if I'm playing in CKY, that's even better.
Right. Right on, man. Well, I'm loving the new song and appreciate you taking the time with me tonight.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me.
There you go. Mike Leon of CKY. A huge thank you to Shane of Adam Splitter PR for his continued support of this podcast. And of course, a massive thank you to Mike for taking some time out there to hit me up on Zoom to talk about CKY's brand new music and what we've got to look forward to from CKY coming here in the future. As a fan of Soulfly, I should have mentioned this up front. I wanted to point out that I really truly believe, and I'm not just saying this because Mike is the guest on the podcast, but the last decade, that Mike was in the band, he left in early 2025. With the albums they put out when Mike was in the band, the last couple albums, like really, to me, brought me back as a Soulfly fan. Like, I've always been a fan, but I was a much bigger fan in the early days of Soulfly. And as, time went on, it's not like I stopped being a fan. I just stopped paying as close attention. Stuff wasn't grabbing me as much. Like I said, the last couple albums really brought me back in. Just wanted to randomly throw that out there for you. All right, if this is your first time listening, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. There are 442 episodes previous to this one you can check out, starting with that last one, Stomp 442. John Bush of Anthrax and Armored Saint was on here, and that was quite an honor. Throughout the years, some of the bigger honors. Michael Monroe of Hanoi Rocks, that was really cool. Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock. I firmly believe one of he's a Mount Rushmore rock and roll vocalist in my opinion. He's been on here 3 times now. I can't express to you how much that is mind-blowing to me that I've spoken to Glenn Hughes about his music multiple times in my life now. But anyway, if you like thrash metal, members of Megadeth, Testament, Anthrax, Death Angel, Creator, Toxic Holocaust. If you like, stoner metal, stoner rock, The Obsessed, Down, Superjoint, I Hate God, Spirit Caravan, Clutch. I've also had on members of Seven Dust, Skillet, Hellstorm, Shinedown, Breaking Benjamin, Three Doors Down. I've had on members of Whitesnake, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, Kiss. The list, my friends, is great. The list is massive and the list is long. If you love 90s metal, Typo Negative, White Zombie, Prong, Helmet, I could keep going. John Waite from Bad English and Vanilla Ice have been on here as well. So as you can see, kind of spans the gamut. Once again, a massive thank you to DEB Concerts and Sunset Tattoo, Adam Splitter PR. Thank you for listening. Be on the lookout for great episodes coming very soon. Thanks for another kick-ass year in 2025. Thanks for listening here at the beginning of 2026. And a massive thank you to Mike Leon. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.